Hey guys, it's me again, and given my last video, Canary in the Coal Mine, that talked about the lack of integration from predominantly Muslim societies into Western civilization because of the most, yeah, probably the most stark culture clash that you can actually come up with. I figure I should talk about the Netherlands-Turkey situation, because I think that that is fairly tied with one another given what I've been able to uncover. Now, before I go ahead and I talk about what happened, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Turkish population within the Netherlands. Now, the population of Turkish expatriates in the Netherlands is about 400,000. Keep in mind, the Netherlands only has a population of about 14-ish million, 13.8, I believe. It's 13 point something of the Dutch population within the Netherlands. So that's a pretty significant portion. That's like 2.8% of their population is Turkish expatriate. Not even Turkish Dutch. Not even people that are living there as citizens of the Netherlands. No, they're expatriates. So that's a pretty significant portion of their population. Now, I talk about a lack of integration because the Turkish population in particular really loves to wave the Turkish flag every which way. They live in predominantly Turkish communities. They're not really becoming Dutch. They're staying Turkish, and that's because they're expatriates. It makes sense for them to stay Turkish. It's like there's about 700,000 American expatriates in Canada, and they're living like Americans and things like this, but they're not forming just American societies. They're up there to work. They go up there and they work, and they come back to America almost entirely. Same thing with Mexico. There's about 400,000 estimated. There's no real way to tell this, unfortunately. But there's about 400,000 American expatriates in Mexico, and they go down there to try and assist Mexico because Mexico's a shithole, and they want to try and make it better. They'd want to try and help give housing and things like this. They're contributing to society. They're still Americans. They still act like Americans, but they're helping the society, and then they leave. That's not hard. The Turkish population in the Netherlands simply isn't doing that. They're just staying there. I haven't been able to find figures on employment rates. If someone else is able to find those, or if someone is Dutch and wants to talk about integration within Turkish society, please feel free to in the comments. I'm more than willing to accept that that everything I say in this is completely wrong. I'm talking about this from the perspective of American, based on the research that I've been able to uncover and nothing more. Now, I think it's also important to note that Mevlut Kofuzoglu, or however the hell you pronounce this name, states that Turkey sent these people over. I'm not sure of his fluency in English. I think it's pretty decent because he's the Foreign Affairs Minister of Turkey. But he states that these Turkish people were sent. Most times this would be considered an invasion, especially since they're waving the Turkish flag every which way. Read into that what you will. I think he misspoke. I think this whole thing is a power grab. I'll get into that later. Now, Dutch public attitudes towards foreigners within their own country has been on the decline lately. And it's an EU thing where they're talking about Islamophobia, which is basically just we don't want Islam because we think Islam is barbaric and shitty and terrible and oppressive, and we just don't want it. So read into that however you want. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's probably full of shit. However, what the study also notes that I think is actually very important is the Dutch in particular favor integration rather than cultural enrichment by foreigners. meaning they don't want their culture to change. They don't want a drastic change in their culture. They like the way that they live. They like the life that they have. And if people want to come into the Netherlands, fine, they can. But you have to integrate. And if you don't integrate, you're not really welcome here. This is, again, going back towards the canary in the coal mine video. I talk about a complete lack of integration of the Somali and Iraqi refugee populations in Maine. The same thing seems to be happening here. There doesn't seem to be integration taking place. It seems to be Turks are coming over and wanting to continue to live like Turks. And that's simply just not how you do things. I'm not going to go to Japan and want to live like an American. If I'm going to Japan, I'm going to live like the Japanese. I expect the same of the Japanese moving here. It's not hard to want to expect these things. It's not racist to expect these things. Is it a bit nationalistic? Yeah. A healthy dose of nationalism is fine. There's a Turkish referendum going on right now, where Erdogan is basically trying to take over the entire government. As far as I can tell, it's going to be Erdogan as the government. He's the prime everything. He's the final say in everything. He makes it does not look like a good system. It does not look like a good system. And this referendum is including expatriates in the results, which means that 400,000 Turk expatriate population in the Netherlands, they're going to be voting on the Turkish referendum. They can do that. The reason that this is important is because the Turkish government is sending over politicians into foreign lands to try and stir up support for certain things in the Turkish referendum, a yes vote or a no vote. The reason that this is bad is because you're sending your politicians into a foreign country to try and stir up a vote. I didn't like it when Obama went to Britain and tried to stir up the vote for friggin' their referendum to try and leave the EU. I hated that. That was bullshit. He should not have done that. That's wrong of him. It's just as wrong for Erdogan to try and do that to European countries. It's also against Turkish law. Turkish law forbids you from going into foreign lands and trying to stir up political fervor. They're doing it anyways. Boy, howdy, Turkey's a great place, ain't it? Boy, howdy, am I glad they're a part of NATO. I'm glad NATO exists. Now, what happened in the Netherlands is they decided to say, no, fuck you, you're not coming into this country to go ahead and do this. We're going to send you back to Turkey. Then riots happened because the expatriates care more about Turkey than they do about the country that they're currently freaking living in. This goes back to the integration. Why do you care more about Turkey whenever you're living in the Netherlands? Why aren't you becoming a citizen of the Netherlands? Why are you still a citizen of Turkey living abroad? Why is there a 400,000 constant population of Turkish expatriates living in the Netherlands since about 2008? Why has this been going on so long? Why aren't you integrating? Why aren't you doing all of these things that you should be doing because you're living in a foreign country full time? Jeez. So they riot, they wave the flag, and the only pictures that you really find are ones of the Dutch police stopping the riots. Yes, they're stopping the frickin' riots, and everyone just calls it a protest. It's just a protest. It's just a protest. Never mind that they're breaking all of the protest laws. It's just a protest. It's a riot, okay? I can call things a riot. You should really start calling things what they are. Riots. There's a great fall in diplomatic relations between Turkey and the Netherlands as a result of all of this. What's happening is Erdogan basically went out and said, Europe's full of Nazis. What? What? Really? Really? Europe's full of Nazis. Would the Nazis have taken in 400,000 Turks? Would the Nazis have opened up their borders to migration at the level at which they have? No, I don't think so. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say a big fat no. Basically, Erdogan is talking out his ass because he wants more power. He wants Turkey to be a full-fledged member of the EU, and he is trying to just shame them into doing it at this point because they won't do it, because Erdogan's a piece of shit. Now, what's my take on the whole thing from the perspective of an American? I don't understand why there are hundreds of thousands of expatriates living in the Netherlands full time. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me why this would be a thing. Are they all on work visas? Are they contributing to society? Are they scientists? Are they skilled labor of some kind? I don't know. I don't know these things. If they're not, why? You don't need this population. You really just don't in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a wonderful place. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I don't get it. I don't understand why these foreign countries, why European countries in particular, are so keen on shoving immigrants into them. Just literally just shoving immigrants everywhere that they can for cultural enrichment. You have a rich culture, Europe. You have a rich culture. You have a wonderful culture. Realize it. Use it. Fucking... Something else that's incredibly worthy of note is definitely that Erdogan is just power grabbing. Erdogan's a piece of shit. He is not a good leader, and he is a cunt. And he's just power grabbing. That's all he's doing. That's all this name calling is. It's mostly posturing. Turkey doesn't have a very good military. He faked a coup he faked a coup and then imprisoned teachers and social service workers. What? Who does that? Who does that? I don't know. This whole situation just seems really strange from my perspective. What I would say is Turkey's posturing. They don't have a sizable military force. They certainly can't take on the EU. I'm pretty sure the US would get their asses in there pretty quick because we do store some nukes in Turkey. We would we immediately just right around those nukes. Fuck you, Turkey. You ain't touching shit. So the US would get involved at least in that capacity. Because Jesus Christ. So there's really nothing that Erdogan can do besides, you're racist. You're a bunch of racists. No. I don't believe that the Netherlands is full of racists. I think they're full of people that want people to integrate into their society, as proved by the EU study. They just want people to integrate. That's it. It's the same here. It's the same across Europe. People don't want cultural enrichment. They want integration. They like their societies. They have every reason to like their societies. Western societies are among the greatest the world has ever known. Why change that? Why are people so desperate to change that? I don't understand it. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today. I gotta play me some Battlefield 1. Man, that expansion, that French expansion is really great. It really is. The show. I love the show. The show is such a cool weapon. But anyways, that's off on a tangent that doesn't have anything to do with this. Unless the Netherlands is going to bring out the show. No, it'd be terrible. That'd be awful. But anyways, I really want to thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. There's going to be more content every week. We'll be trying to push everything out on Wednesday, just to make sure that I have time to be able to do it all. So again, I really want to thank you guys for watching. And if you are Dutch and you have something to add to this, please let me know. I really want to know more about this situation. I want to know more about Dutch-Turkey relations within their own country, how the Turks act compared to how the Dutch act, things like this. I haven't really been able to find articles or things about this, and it's not like I can just go to the Netherlands to interview people. But it does seem to be the Dutch want integration, the Turks want Turkey. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time.